So as anglers, we have tough places that are hard to fish or the fish are hard to catch. And even though I get to fish a lot of great places and I get to fish a lot, that happens to me quite often. One that stands out most was bass fishing in El Salto Reservoir. Now, the fishing wasn't difficult, it was actually the learning curve. Where I'm from and where I fish largemouth bass in Southern California, it's much different. So, at El Salto, it was long casts. It was working a finesse or surface bait very quickly along the bank. And the other problem that I had there was those fish coming up and hitting that surface bait so violently and setting that hook. In San Diego or in Southern California, it's more about finesse fishing. El Salto was all about power fishing. As anglers, we all have difficult fish that we have difficulty catching. And sometimes tough fishing is literally, it's tough fishing and it's physically exhausting. And one of the toughest places was Hell's Canyon on the Snake River, catching giant sturgeon on conventional gear. The fish weren't necessarily difficult to catch, it was what happened after you hooked them. The physical strength that I had to exert bringing those fish to the boat was tremendous. I wasn't only fighting a giant fish, but I was also fighting a current that was tremendously fast and strong, and positioning myself on that boat, keeping my shoulders square to that fish, trying to lift that sturgeon up to the boat. It was physically taxing. And at the end of catching one of those big fish, I felt like I went through a 10-round fight with Mike Tyson, basically. I was aching from back, my shoulders, every muscle in my body was just strained. Fishing can also be tough in terms of how precise you have to be as an angler when making a cast. And there's no better place that sort of brings out every part of that than Belize fly fishing for permit. Permit are a very difficult fish to catch in very shallow water. And as a fly caster, you not only have to make a very long cast, a very long difficult cast, oftentimes in the wind, a wind that's blowing 15 to 20 knots, but you also have to be deadly accurate, putting that fly right on that permit's nose. That is a very difficult and tough fish to catch, and when you have to be so precise with your technique, your casting, it is supremely tough. There are so many elements that go into a fishing trip that make it tough, but once you go through those challenges and you get through those tough spots, once you catch a fish and bring it to the boat end to hand, it makes it all that much more rewarding.